My name's Daniel Roy. My name's Daniel Roy. My name's Daniel Roy. My name's Daniel Roy. And I do really like this black backdrop, super mysterious, magician-y vibe here in this current setup, but I do want to make some changes around here. From all of this to this. As you can see, I've made some upgrades in the vicinity. We've got the cool LED lit bookshelves, the lamp on one side, the plant on the other side, and some little trinkets here on the table. So I figure I should break in this new space with some sleight of hand. So I'll start by giving the cards a shuffle like this, and I'll try to cut to a good poker hand. In this case, the 10 of diamonds, and the jack of diamonds, and the queen of diamonds, and the king of diamonds, and the ace of diamonds, a royal flush in diamonds. Now, I'm going to use this royal flush here to demonstrate a technique known as stacking the deck. So I will take these 5 cards and I'm going to cut them back into the deck so that no one knows exactly where they are. And now I will attempt to stack the deck in just 2 shuffles. So here's the first shuffle, and here is the second shuffle. And after these 2 shuffles, hopefully, I should have been able to stack that royal flush in diamonds for a 4-handed game of cards. So after you shuffle, of course, you always have to cut. And now it's time to deal. So I said it was a 4-handed game. So you'll notice that on this first round, I receive, there it is, the 10 of diamonds. On this second round, I get a jack of diamonds, followed by a queen of diamonds, and a king of diamonds, and last but not least, the ace of diamonds. That's a royal flush in diamonds from a shuffled deck of cards. Now, I'm going to use this royal flush here to tell you a little bit more about this setup that I've got going. So I will start by talking about some cards, then we're going to talk about a mug, then we'll talk about a bottle, and then a frame, and last but not least, a wand. So with that said, let's get started. So, starting with the playing cards, these are a set of sealed aristocrat playing cards given to me by Jason England, who was one of my early mentors. Jason is a world-class gambling sleight of hand expert, and I got super lucky, and I met him when I was 12. And he was extremely generous with his time and with his attention and with his wisdom. And if not for him, I really never would have gotten into any of this gambling sleight of hand stuff. So I'm super lucky to have had him as a wonderful mentor over the years. Now this is a mug with a brain on it. And the reason for the brain is that I studied neurobiology in college at the University of Pennsylvania. So this is just a slight throwback to that. Over here, I have a wine bottle. Now, this wine bottle is 4 Kings wine. I actually don't think I'm the person who drank this wine bottle. I don't think I know where it came from, actually. But it does have 4 Kings on it, which is cool. So that's why it sits over here on a shelf. And then, of course, we've got a frame. And what's inside of this frame is the very first dollar I ever made doing magic. I know that might seem kind of corny, but, you know, there's a story. I was like 11 years old. I was at a farmer's market in Hilo. That's why it says Hilo there, in Hilo, Hawaii. This was in 2007, on August 15th, 2007. Wow, long time ago. And I did a card trick for this guy whose name was, what was it? Sharky. Literally Sharky. I did a card trick for him, and he then gave me $1 and wrote, "Thanks for the trick," from Sharky. And my parents, I think, framed it at the time, which I thought was kind of weird and, you know, embarrassing. But in retrospect, I'm really glad that they framed it because it's just super cool to have the very first dollar I ever made in magic framed and here on the bookshelf for posterity's sake. Now, over here I have a magic wand. I'm really not one for magic wands, it's not really my style, but this wand is part of an award I won, that's the rest of the box. In 2019, it was the Milbourne Christopher Award, and so this just picks up the red light very nicely from this bookcase, and so that's where that lives. Now, I feel a little bit weird talking about this wand, because it may seem self-aggrandizing to talk about this award that I won for a thing to people on the internet, but the reason I keep it there is because when you put content out on the internet, most of the comments are fun or lighthearted or nice, or even when they're critical, they're constructive, right? Constructive, respectful criticism, and I'm all for that. But sometimes you get comments that just come from a place of malice. Those can be kind of hard to deal with emotionally, and so having some memento of a thing I did that worked or that was successful or that made me feel good can help to offset some of the insecurity that I feel when people are, you know, mean to me on the internet. All right, enough complaining. Onwards to the books. All of these books on the bookshelves are part of my magic library. Certainly isn't all the books that I own, but it's a good chunk of them, and I've tried to arrange them in some aesthetic way. You'll also notice some bicycle cards and some bee cards up there, two of my favorite brands. I've also made some tech upgrades that you can't see, and maybe I'll make a video about those at some point. And these upgrades will allow me to make videos much more efficiently, and they'll allow me to make much more complex videos. I'm super excited about some of the ideas I'm working on right now, and I really, really hope that you like them. I'll also be filming an online course over this next month, and that will probably be through Patreon, so keep an eye out for that. I'll post more updates about that on my channel. Now, the aesthetic and the style of this setup was inspired by a number of different channels. First is probably Ali Abdal, who's a doctor from the UK, who makes these incredible videos on productivity and some life philosophy as well. It's just personally been really helpful to me, and I've really enjoyed his videos, and he's one of the reasons that I started to take YouTube a lot more seriously. I'm also a big fan of Gerald Undone. I love his setups, and he makes these incredibly technically accurate and precise reviews of cameras. So if you ever are looking for camera gear to buy, I would highly recommend all of his videos. Another channel called DSLR Video Shooter makes these really cool videos about creative ways of setting up your desk for maximal efficiency, and I'm actually using one of those right now. Maybe I'll talk about that some other time. And the bookshelves themselves are inspired by a channel called Legal Eagle. He's this lawyer who makes these really entertaining and, most importantly, accessible videos about all things related to law and lawyers and current events. And last but not least, a friend of mine from Korea named Kim, who's a gambling sleight of hand expert, he has a fantastic YouTube channel, and in his set he has some dice like this, so that's where I got the idea for those. So I will link all of those channels in the description. I've loved their videos, and I really think you will too. And lastly, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has watched my videos, with ads on, everyone who has subscribed and signed up for lessons and booked shows. It's because of all of you that I was able to put this set together, and your support means the absolute world to me, so I'm extremely grateful to all of you. See you next time!